I'd recently purchased a Chromebook CB713 for about a little more than this, $80. And so I was pretty happy. It came with 8 gigabytes of RAM and an i5 8th generation processor and 64 gigabytes of storage. I actually wanted a Windows laptop, which I was able to get one with this specs: an i7 processor, 8th gen with 512 gigabytes of RAM and storage and 16 gigabytes of RAM. I thought that was pretty good, and I got that for $115. So I was done for the most part. I wasn't sure if I got a great deal, so I went back on eBay and was searching Dell 5400. And of course, eBay does this to me. I thought it was a pretty decent deal for $77 out the door. So it was actually cheaper than what I had purchased over here for my Chromebook. I could get one with 256 gigabytes of storage, as well as 8 gigabytes of RAM. I actually looked at the specs for this Dell Latitude, and actually came with 16 gigabytes of RAM, because you can check the specs based on the service tag number, and the service tag number is included over here. So I thought for $77 plus tax, came out to be around 80 something dollars. It's a pretty darn decent deal. Comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM, which I would confirm once I got it. i7 8th generation processor. And so even though I'd already purchased a slightly not as great one, this one only had 64 gigabytes of RAM. 64 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigabytes of RAM. And it was a little more expensive. I ended up ordering this. And I tried looking online to see if it was a decent deal. There were mostly ones with slower processors, with less storage or less RAM. So this one's $300. This one's $260. Found this site that said $375. And I tried doing some Amazon searches, and this one says $225. But the one that I got has full HD screen. I checked the service tag, and it said 1080p. So anyways, let me show you what I got. For $77, they didn't mention if I was going to get a power adapter. And this is the one I got a few weeks ago. It did come with a power adapter, which I was happy to get, because I was thinking I'd have to spend another $10 on a power adapter. So they gave me a generic power adapter, and they packaged this I received this through USPS, bubble wrapped. So it's done pretty well. It wouldn't get damaged. So let me take this out. So it has a lot of stickers on here, which not a big deal. It's kind of scratched up on the edges. I'm not expecting much for $77, and so I can clean it up, which is not a bad deal. There's no major damage, just normal wear and tear for a 4-year-old laptop. This is your standard Dell power plug, USB-C, which supposedly you can charge it through USB-C, regular USB port, and exhaust fans. This gets kind of warm. And then on the other side, comes with 2 more USB, an SD card slot. I think this supports a, what's it called? A SIM card. So you can do data, HDMI, surprisingly Ethernet, and the lock thing. You see down over here, bottom part, some pretty decent cushion, more stickers, pen mark. So I think this is serviceable, and maybe you can change the RAM. I'm not sure. At least this is a full HD. So again, in hindsight, even though I spent a little bit more on this one was nicer because it just feels more premium. It's made of aluminum. This one is also made of aluminum, but it still feels kind of plasticky in parts. Both are backlit keyboards. Let me go power this on. See, backlit keyboard. This Acer has a better display. This has QHD display, whereas this is full HD display. Let me go log in. The screen on this seems sharper, obviously with the QHD screen as well as some other things. Let me put that away while I log in. So after getting it, I did a battery test through Croce, and it was at 100% battery health, which really surprised me. There's a 4-year-old laptop, 4-year-old Chromebook that is, but the battery says it's at 100%, which is really an added bonus. I was thinking this would be at like 80% or 70%. So again, I purchased this for $77 after tax. It was around $80 something. It was free shipping. The battery health says it's great. The CPU is just as described. It's an i7 8th generation processor. And the best part was, as I confirm over here, it wasn't 8 gigabytes of RAM, but it was actually 16 gigabytes of RAM that were included on the system. So the listing was a little off. And in terms of storage, I got 256 gigabytes supposedly, but I'm sure there's a backup partition, and so that takes up around 50 gigabytes. So in hindsight, I spent around the same amount. This cost me like, I think $85, maybe $80. This also cost me around $80 something. Better screen, QHD versus full HD. The nice thing is I get touchscreen though on this. As I mentioned, this came with 256 gigabytes of storage. This came with only 64 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 8 gigabytes of RAM. So apples to oranges. This looks nicer. Somebody did a review about the Acer CB713 Chromebook 13. They said it looked really ugly or something. Not ugly, but just doesn't look that fancy, but looks a lot fancier than this Dell 5400, that's for sure. This feels pretty heavy, whereas this is thinner, but same weight. So that's my short story. I went on eBay, got this Chromebook, and I was pretty happy. But for around the same price, around $80, I was able to get an even faster Chromebook with more RAM, more storage, and even the battery is in better shape. It's in 100% battery. So in the back of my mind, I feel like I should sell one of these and just keep one, but I think it'll be nice. I'll be able to maybe give one of these Chromebooks to one of my kids, and they can use it for playing games. Because you can play Roblox and even maybe probably Minecraft off of a Chromebook if you wanted to. So that's my short story. I went on to eBay and I was just trying to check prices and end up getting suckered into buying another Chromebook. I'm sure my wife wouldn't be happy to hear about that, but I'll be using both of these. These are really fast Chromebooks, and I'd mentioned before, like, let me show you. Chromebooks are usually fast regardless of what system specs you use, but I have a budget HP Chromebook which I bought for about $150. So literally these two old Chromebooks are worth about the same thing as what I purchased new for $150 plus tax and recycling. And this is a lot slower. This only has 32 gigabytes of storage, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and the screen isn't that great. It's really plasticky. It does include touchscreen. But this has a regular HD display, which is, I mean, things aren't clear or sharp, and when I try to remote desktop, things are a little bit blurry. So I already did a short review on the Acer below here, and also using this Dell 5400 Chromebook. It's so nice because it's so fast, and it just things aren't slow on it. I haven't tried any games on it, but I can imagine playing games wouldn't be a problem with this i7 8th gen processor. I wanted to do some VM virtual machine stuff, but it's a little difficult because it doesn't have, let's say, the newer hardware to do VM. So I was hoping to run Windows 10 or 11 on this through virtual machine, but I think it's going to be a hassle. We'll see, because you have to use Linux, the sideload Linux through a container, and then from there do another virtual machine within there, and so it gets pretty slow. So I don't plan on taking the dive into just installing Windows directly onto this machine. That's I still want to use this as a Chromebook, so we'll see what I end up doing with it. But anyways, I think it was a pretty decent deal. $80 for a Chromebook with an i7 processor with the new battery. What it says it's new. Full HD screen, touch screen. The screen was pretty decent. The only bad thing is it has a bunch of these stickers and some minor scratches over it, which is normal wear and tear for a 4-year Chromebook or 4-year laptop in general. So I'm pretty satisfied. I shouldn't have spent so much money. $80 here, $80 here. So I feel pretty guilty about spending so much money. That's it. That's my short review. I showed you the ports, right? I showed you the ports. So I think it can charge USB-C. So we'll see. I'm going to take out these stickers, and I think I'm going to actually probably end up using this a lot, because this is the best Chromebook I have. Over and out.